Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a stock that I recently purchased. As you all know, when I do make a stock purchase, I like to upload a video on it fairly fast, updating you all on what the stock that I purchased was, and of course my justification behind that, and just me giving my overall predictions and thoughts for the future for that stock, and of course the general stock market as well. So if you do enjoy videos where I talk about the moves that I'm making, and the low-key type of stuff that I could just generally keep to myself, if you do enjoy that transparency and me keeping you all up to date on these purchases, then please make sure to smash that like button, drop a like on the video. It definitely helps me out a lot, and it's also just motivating as well. So the more likes you all put on this video and the more love you all show, the more motivated I get to upload content on this channel. So big thanks to everyone that has subscribed so far. We're about to hit 5,000 subscribers. That's an absolutely huge accomplishment, and I can't believe we're already reaching this milestone so soon on my channel. As I'm recording this video right now, we're currently at 4,997 subscribers. By the time this is uploaded, we are probably well over 5,000. So big thank you to everyone that made that possible. You guys are awesome. And I met some really cool people within this community here, and it's nice to have other people that are financially educated, and of course just other people that are beginning as well. You have different people in this community at all levels of knowledge, which I think is pretty cool because that means that we can learn a lot from each other. So definitely feel free to subscribe if you're new here. But moving on to the main topic of this video, which is the stock that I recently purchased, I'll go ahead and tell you all, since it's pretty obvious. There's only three main options here, as you all know, since my stock portfolio only consists of three main stocks, aside from these free stocks right here that I don't usually count. As you can see, my three main stocks right here are Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple stock, and the stock that I recently purchased was Microsoft stock. And I'll go ahead and click on this and show you the receipt for the purchase that I did make. With today being one of those positive days that I didn't expect, I thought, okay, of course they call this a kangaroo market, compared to like the normal typical bear market or bull market, where bull market means it's going up and it's in a positive direction, and bear market means it's going down and we're in like an economic downturn. Whereas with the kangaroo market, that just means there's tons of volatility right now with the Fed pumping in money, the worry about a second wave of the Rona. There's so many different factors in the play that are causing a lot of volatility and a lot of up and down movements. So with that, I thought, okay, as we know, the general advice from a lot of the billionaire investors out there like Warren Buffett and many other individuals are that a good idea is to just buy and hold stocks for the long term and not try to time the market in terms of timing when to buy in and timing when to sell. So as you know, when you try to time the market, you have to, of course, time the perfect position to sell, which most of the time, ideally, you're not going to be able to perfectly time the exact top of the market to sell at. So that's the first part of timing the market. You have to time when to sell, which is at its peak. And then you also have to time the bottom as well, which is knowing when to buy back in. And keep in mind, when you short sell and when you panic sell and when you try to time the market, you also have to deal with taxes as well, which is just another major reason why I don't like to try to constantly time the market. I think dollar cost averaging is the wave if it is a stock that is good for the long term, not a stock that, has a lot of risk to it, like Nikola stock or something. I'm talking about a good high quality stock for the long term. Even if it's like an index fund style stock, like an ETF like VOO, those are definitely good ones where you can pretty much buy at any point in time and you're pretty much guaranteed to make money by the time you're retired over the next 40 years. But keep in mind with this video, nothing that I say is to be considered financial advice. This is simply me just sharing my thoughts and opinions about the market. So with that, like I said, I decided to purchase one share of Microsoft today, especially with us, them joking around about how we're in a kangaroo market with so much volatility. And of course, I'm a big person that believes in dollar cost averaging because, as we know, we can't predict the future, whether the market is going to go up or whether the market is going to go down. So sometimes the best thing you can do is to just go ahead and buy the stock and then just strap in on the roller coaster and see where it goes. And if you pick a high quality long-term stock, then it is likely to go up in the future. And that is what I believe that I've done with Microsoft stock, in which I purchased a share for $189.84. So about $190. I bought this at 3:25 p.m. today. And to keep it real with you all, I actually woke up at like 3 p.m. today. I stay up really late sometimes. Like I'll do my videos for the day and then I'll watch a ton of movies on Netflix or Amazon Prime or just TV shows or something. And then I usually sleep a little later. So that's why my videos are later in the day. But yeah, as you can see, I bought a share of Microsoft. And another thing that's pretty cool is that the reason I was able to afford this one share of Microsoft was because I had $150 in cash in my cash balance. And some of this money, like the $30 you see right here, is because of me selling free stocks and stocks that I received from people using my referral link. Feel free to use my referral link for Robinhood and Webull. You'll get a free stock. But like I said, some of this cash that I have right now for the $30 does come from me selling some of the free stocks. But the reason that I was actually able to buy this share of Microsoft was because, of course, I had that $150 in cash. And as we know, Microsoft is more than that. It's at $190, you know, the $190 price that I paid. But I recently got a dividend from Microsoft, which was $57.63. So that's like the $150 that I already had in cash, plus this $57, $58 in dividend payments that I used to add together to my cash balance to purchase that one share of Microsoft. So thanks to this dividend, I was luckily able to purchase another share of this company. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well, is that not only is this a fantastic growth stock and a fantastic growth company that I think is not only going to perform well in normal times, but I think this is also a good option for like a Rona round 2 situation. Like if there is a wave 2 of Rona, if there's a second wave of the Rona and there's another lockdown, then I feel like this is going to be one of those stocks that either performs well during the lockdown, and I also think it's going to be one that is a little bit more resilient compared to a lot of those like travel stocks and airlines, and I think it will recover much faster than many of those others out there if there is another stock market crash due to a lockdown or due to a second wave of the Rona. So that's an awesome thing about this stock. There's a very good business model within this company, and of course, over the past 5 years, as you can see, it's up 318%, and like I said, you get dividends as well, a 1.06% dividend yield, which is absolutely awesome when you're already getting 30 to 60% growth of your share value in just 1 year's time. So not only are you getting crazy growth, but you're also getting good dividends as well. But keep in mind, this crazy growth is not guaranteed in the future. Just because we see awesome growth over the past 5 years and over the past year doesn't mean that same thing is going to happen in the future. They have to be consistent with what they've been doing already, and they need to keep up the good work, but I definitely think that they will do so. And this is just one of those stocks that I feel like I could personally buy and hold forever until I retire, and then sell it when I retire, and it'll be one of those big gainers for the long term. I feel like this is one of the few stocks in the stock market that someone can actually just pick and not have to buy an ETF or something like an index fund and expect this to perform well. I feel like this is just one of those that you can buy and expect it to do well for you. Just like Amazon stock and Google stock and a lot of those others out there that you don't have to do a lot of thinking on, where you can just kind of be like, okay, that's definitely a good grower. They kind of have a monopoly on their business sector. So this could be one of those that is good for the long term that I can just buy and not have to worry about readjusting my portfolio and stuff like that. So I definitely think Microsoft is one of those stocks. I think that there's also a ton of growth potential for this stock in the future, especially when a lot of their products is based off of software and coding programs and stuff like Microsoft Office, where a lot of the cost overhead doesn't really exist, because the majority of the cost for developing those programs is obviously for development and research and stuff like that, and paying the people to build those programs. But once the programs are built, there's really no cost overhead after that. And that's kind of similar to Adobe stock as well, where you have Photoshop and a lot of these other programs where once they've been developed, and obviously there's some updates and bug fixes as well, but once they've been developed, a lot of the overhead cost for that is already taken into account. So there's a lot of potential for profitability when it comes to software and stuff like Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word and many other aspects to this business that are related to software and coding programs. And you have Microsoft Azure, and cloud computing is another huge aspect of revenue as well. And even with Amazon AWS, if you aren't familiar, Amazon Web Services, that has been a really big profit generator for Amazon, where, like I said, it's just one of those things like cloud computing. You pay that initial cost basis, and then it's just pure profit from then on. And there's also the potential with this as well with Microsoft and Azure. So cloud computing is especially big, and it's growing even further as employment starts to transition online. And I feel like this whole Rona situation has created sort of like a revolution in the work environment, where companies start to realize that it's actually more efficient and more optimized to have their workers working at home and working at home on their computers, rather than buying all of these business buildings and having people travel to this one organized area for everyone to work at. And they're starting to realize that it's just as effective to have individuals working at home. And when we have individuals working at home, the cloud does become more beneficial. And like I said, when there's just more people on the internet in general, there's going to be more people utilizing those services that Microsoft does offer. And of course, it's not only just software. We have the Microsoft Edge web browser. We have the Windows operating system, which is almost like a monopoly on computers, aside from, of course, Apple's own iOS interface that they have with their products. But the Windows operating system is pretty much a monopolized thing on any computer that's not Apple, pretty much. So there's a lot of potential with this software stuff right here. And like I said, there are benefits to this stock compared to others if there is a second wave of the Rona. This is one of those that can definitely still get a lot of revenue and still beat expectations, even under times where we may face a bad economic situation where some people are losing their jobs. And if you look at the earnings report from Microsoft as well, it's one of those that consistently beats earnings. As you can see on this chart right here, it beats earnings every single time. Of course, you have the Q2 2019 where it's not showing up the estimated one, but pretty much this has beat earnings every single time so far that we can see on this chart. And I'm definitely excited to see what happens with the upcoming earnings as well. But overall, I just feel like this is a fantastic stock. Like I said, one that I can hold for the long term and not have to worry about readjusting my portfolio eventually and stuff like that. And it's also still under fair value right now, so I do feel like I'm getting a good value. And of course, I think there's a lot of potential for growth in the future when it comes to this share price. So I feel like there's so much potential with this stock, and this seems like one of those safer options out there. I think it's also one of only 2 AAA stocks in terms of like safety and many other factors. So Microsoft is one of those that I feel like people can look at as a consistent earner. At least I do. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for the future in terms of just investing in this stock right now. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button. Like I said, I always love updating you all and keeping the transparency here on this channel. It's something that I really want to do because I feel like that's important, where people can kind of like identify with you if they have a similar portfolio. And I like to preach that buy and hold long-term strategy. And I'm also like experimenting, I guess you would say, with this small stock portfolio in terms of like diversity, this 3-stock portfolio. I actually think there's a lot of potential for growing my portfolio tremendously in the future. So far, I don't plan on adding any stocks unless it's something like Amazon in the future if I can get it for a good deal. But these 3 right here are what I'm really just focusing on putting more money into. If I'm adding shares to my portfolio, it's probably going to be shares to a company that I already own. So that just goes on to like distributing my money into each of these holdings within my portfolio. Once I get this tax situation handled in the upcoming month or so, then I'll probably be focusing my money once again on Tesla stock and Microsoft stock, just to give you all a heads up. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you would like to begin investing, feel free to use my referral links to Robinhood and Webull down in the description below. If you sign up with those links, you'll get some free stocks, and here are just a few examples. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.